Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So, this is our second podcast episode for this year.
Yeah.
So, as we said before, welcome back, and to all our new followers. Thanks for joining us.
We've got new ones?
Well, I like to think
I
so.
hope so,
Every
yes.
so often,
Very nice.
I like to welcome the newcomers to our podcast. It's always a good gesture. Tell your friends and all that stuff. So tonight we are reviewing.
Can I say something? If we do have any new guys here, which we may, okay, what we're trying to do here is to do mainly sci-fi, horror, and fantasy, but we also throw in the other movie that we think might be of good value.
Exactly.
So yeah, and this is one of those. It's a comedy horror.
Yeah. Or it's in the middle again.
It's in the middle. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's pretty groovy. So, Sarah, do you want to introduce the movie?
So the movie we're reviewing tonight is Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I know that sounds hard to remember, but just remember it says bodies in the movie.
And it's not about sex, okay?
Yes.
No.
And it was released in last year. So
2022.
So it's a new one, in fact.
American black comedy.
Yeah, well.
Horror.
Well, remove the comedy part altogether.
Well, there's some funny bits in it.
Yeah, funny, but
no. No, it's not a serious horror movie, so that's what I call a comedy horror. So yeah,
I call it more of a horror mystery, or mystery, mostly.
A bunch of dickheads get together and they run around ever-decreasing circles and create a lot of mayhem, and they call it comedy. There you go.
Yeah, because there's a bit of mystery, and I think someone said when I looked at reception that the director or the scriptwriter was inspired by Agatha Christie and probably some of the stories that deal with there's an unexpected death and people suspect it's a murderer, but actually it may have been an accident, and Hercule Poirot or Miss Marple deciphers this whole scenario. And but again, as I said in the past, it's always good. I always like a good mystery when it comes to this stuff.
Okay, now some critics suggested that an influence by Agatha Christie, but actually spoke with the people involved with the film writing, screenwriting. They were inspired by movies such as The Heathers, the 1988 movie, Don's Plum, I don't know that one, that's 2001. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? That's an old Elizabeth Taylor movie, 1966. The Piano Teacher, that was 2001. Cries and Whispers, I don't know that one, that's 1972. And the filmography of John Cassavetes. So, there's a lot of influences in here.
But I gotta admit, Mike, that there are sometimes in mysteries, this is like, as I said before, this is more mystery horror or just mystery because it leaves you wondering who the murderer is. And there's a lot of...
it's a whodunit, how's that?
It's a whodunit. Without the who.
As the story will reveal itself, it's not all as it seems. Hang on.
Yes, so let's go.
So we'll leave that.
Let's dive into.
I'll do my normal bits here.
Yeah, let's dive into the scriptwriters, the producers, and the writers.
Half these guys got foreign names. So,
really?
Produced by David Hinojosa, I think, and Ali Herting. Okay, and directed by Helena Reason.
You're not joking about the foreign names, Mike.
Story by Kristen Ropnian. Right. And screenplay by Sarah Delap.
Well, at least Sarah's pretty much no one.
Sarah's Elizabeth. Okay. Box office only about 13.9 mil. Could have had a limited run. Don't know what the budget was. I don't know if the budget would have been huge because I get the impression most of it was done in one location. Could have kept the cost down a bit, so they probably at least broke even on it. Don't know. Can't tell you that one. Now, let's go through the players. Now,
right.
I rearranged the order I found them in because I think I did a bit of order of priority. Well, it was a bit wrong. Now, Maria Bakalova, she plays B. B-double-E. She's an East European girl. Why did you say European girl? Who has been drawn into this group of people by her girlfriend. Okay.
Yeah.
They went to this house. You could say they gate crashed this party on the pretext that they were invited. Okay. But B is almost like a final girl. Okay. Now her friend Myha'la Stenberg, who plays Sophie, which is her, she's a rich friend and a girlfriend of B. So yeah, there's a little bit of lesbian sort of stuff in here. It's not sexually explicit or anything, so it's easy to handle. Now, Pete Davidson plays David, a rich guy. He's a bit of a dork. The party's being held at his family's mansion. He's a typical rich kid in these sort of movies, up himself a little bit. Now, he has a girlfriend. Chase Wonders plays Emma, his actress girlfriend.
Yeah.
There's another late girl involved here, Rachel Sennett plays Alice. She's a podcaster. Hey, podcasting sounds like a lot of fun. We are doing it. Lee Pace plays Greg. He's sort of Alice's much older boyfriend and a bit of a smart ass. I like him.
I kind of like him. Really cool. He looked familiar to me, but then I found out he was in 2 other movies I've seen him in.
He was in the Lord of the Rings movie. No, not the new bit.
Oh, yeah. And he was also in one of the Twilight Zone, not Twilight Zone, I mean Twilight Saga, from Bella and Edward, whatever.
Almost finished. Okay. Now, I do not know how to pronounce this. Myha'la, Myha'La, Harold, plays Jordan, one of the other female friends at this location. And a guy called Connor O'Malley has a bit part here. He leaves at the beginning of the movie, comes back at the end.
Yeah, so
somehow... He plays Max. He's one of the people... He had a bit of an argument, left, came back later on.
He had an argument with what's his name? Oh, yeah, David. And then we find out he arrives... After the whole incident happened, he comes back, which is a bit weird.
Someone's got to clean up.
Considering the fact they're out in the middle of nowhere, it's a mansion, and there's...
they're having a hurricane party, they called it. Yeah, this big storm was supposed to go through, so I thought they'd ride out the storm at the mansion, that sort of stuff. And whatever. Yeah. I'm not rich enough to get invited to these things. So,
me neither. I don't think I would want to go to one of these things.
It's like a whodunit, Cluedo, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, makes me
think... Host the murder.
Yeah, reminds me of the place that me and Lana went to last year. It was pretty fun.
Was it Cluedo? What was it called?
It was Cluedo, and the people dressed up. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, period stuff going back in the 1920s or 30s, was it?
Yeah, roughly there.
Yeah, it's really good. It had a good feel to it, but I sat there and watched. I didn't get involved. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I'm lazy sometimes.
So, do you want me to dive into the story itself now?
Well, I might as well, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, the story begins. Sophie and B, they're going to her friend's place to possibly to do a hurricane party of sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I just said that.
Yes, as I said. So they head down there, they're all happy and stuff like that. Of course, I think B is a stranger to their group because she's been dating Sophie for a month.
A while, a few months, whatever.
Yeah, and she's a stranger to the group.
Yeah, and she's not one of the rich folks, she's one of the ordinary gentry. Yeah. Like me.
Sophie was away for quite a while because she was going through rehab.
Yeah, drug rehab, yes. She got out of control a bit. So,
she's kind of given up drugs and drinking, I think I heard from her.
Yeah, all the above.
Yeah.
I should do that. No.
Yeah, so they head there, and then we start, as a toasting thanks for the hurricane party, it starts pissing down rain.
Well, they were expecting the hurricane.
Yeah.
And it was a very, very vicious storm. Yeah, how's that?
Yeah, they then head inside, and as they then play a game called Bodies, 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 which is like a Cluedo-type game, where the person who's selected to be the killer has to tap you on the shoulder, and you become the dead body. And you have to guess who the killer is. I never played the game because I don't think it exists, to be honest.
Oh, no, I've heard of games similar to it.
I've heard of games too, myself, sometimes you do get those odd games.
I don't know about overseas, but a few decades back, they were doing things like you go away for the weekend and go to a place that would host a murder. You'd stay overnight, you'd dress up, and you would actually get involved with it, and everyone would be given a role to play. You'd be given a card. You would be Lord such and such rather, and you'd be Lady so and so, and you'd be the cleaner, or you'd be the whatever, and you'd be there, and the only person who knew who was going to die was the person running it, and the person was given the "you're going to die" card, and then you were going to be found dead in the corner later on, and you just gradually just disappear from the scene a bit, and you can go and have a few drinks while everybody figures out how the hell you die.
So, Mike, moving on.
Sorry.
So they all do the game. They take place where the lights go out, and they have to do it in the darkness, using their iPhones for light, obviously. So they head around the house, and eventually we do see and eventually they do find the body, and for a minute he comes off as completely silent, and we think, oh my gosh, is he dead for realsy? And then he's just taking the piss out of everyone by just pretending to be dead, obviously. And they begin to discuss who the killer is. Of course, that all the while they get into a bit of anger fights over this sort of thing.
They all got issues.
Because they did say when they did play Bodies in the past, they always got into fights. I guess no one agrees with one another about who might be the killer is, and no one's going to admit it. Because it's a game, after all. No one's going to admit who the killer is in the game.
You did it. There you go. Right.
But these guys have their pride, and I think some of them are still high on drugs or something. I saw one of them, I think it was David. He was smoking up the white stuff, cocaine.
He wasn't smoking, he was sniffing it.
Sniffing it up.
He was doing a line or two, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and we do see more drug-related stuff in this.
Well, rich kid out of control, of course, going to do alcohol and drugs and stuff in these movies.
Yeah, so let me see. I think Greg goes upstairs. He says he's tired and he wants to have a rest. So the others go there, make their own plans. Or as they continue playing slap games. The object of the game is where you drink a shot and then you slap someone next to you.
Slap the person next to you, and they drink a shot, and then you slap them. And
yeah.
After a while, for a few shots, you wouldn't feel the slaps.
The whole point of it. Anyway, then somehow David appears, and he's got this big cut on his neck area. And
enough to kill him.
Yeah, it's dark, and we see him.
He had one of those big.
I should mention that the lights go out in the scene.
The power goes out, the hurricane. Yeah, that sort of stuff. But he comes. His throat is slashed. He staggers into the door, and he collapses dead.
Yeah, without even so much as uttering a word.
He didn't say, "Oh, I've got a boo-boo" or anything.
Yeah, then the girls start acting hysterical. Start wondering who did it. Of course, they suspect Greg. They go up to his room and they find a bag full of. Let me see. There was an army knife.
He had a map, and a few things.
And they all wonder why
suspicious.
So they end up trying to find him. They even get a meat cleaver. Isn't that right? Meat cleaver.
And a few carving off the meat cleaver. A few things out of the kitchen. They're going to prepare a meal.
They then meet him, and he's in a room. He said he was practicing his
meditating, was it?
No, he was doing his exercises.
Was he laying on the ground or something?
Yeah, lying on the ground. He had a few weights, and he was wearing one of those special masks.
A virtual? No, was it?
No, it's not.
An ordinary mask over his face.
It was an ordinary mask, though. I guess I don't know what it is. Anyway,
he was ugly.
He does wake up. He does come to and tells them that he was just doing his exercises, and they start accusing him of the murder, and he thinks that they're still playing the murder game or something like that without telling him. So he tries to go along with it. He tries to pretend to be a zombie sort of thing in a Frankenstein way, and the girls start freaking out, thinking he's acting crazy.
Yeah, because he thinks it's all a joke.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, it's part of the game.
Yeah, he doesn't believe them, and then they start pulling out their knives, and he tries to grab one of the girls' knives, and he tries to cool the situation down by telling them, okay, just put down your knives and I'll put down mine. So they put them down, and then suddenly more fighting starts resuming, and then B takes one of his weights,
one of his hand weights.
Hand weights, and hits him in the back of the head twice.
That'd do it.
Yeah, he lands on the ground dead, blood dripping from his head. And
who's going to clean us up?
Yeah. Of course, one of the girls says that it's expected that he was going to be the killer because his background. But she says he's a vet. Okay, a vet, but that does not mean a vet as in the army.
What do you mean? No, he's a vet. Yeah, animals, dogs, cats, horses. Not a vet like war veteran.
They look like they.
Oops.
Yeah, by the look of the expressions, they look like the dumbest bunch of people in the world.
He's
not
realizing he's not a vet. He's a vet.
Yeah, not even realizing. Maybe you should look at the Twitter or Facebook and find that that vet does not necessarily mean army related.
No, it means horsey and moo
and
cow.
Even
and
one of the girls say, you call him G.I. Joe or something like that. And she says, well, he looks buff, all that stuff. He's got muscles.
Fit, he's tall, he's soul looking.
What are you supposed to... No,
Ken or Barbie or something?
Ken and Barbie? Technically, he's a very buff guy.
He looked very... Yeah, he could have been a vet. You know, he's a solid guy. Yeah, he looked good.
Yeah, anyway, he was just an ordinary assistant vet, and therefore... He was not... He was dead, obviously, and they killed him.
He's out of a job. Yeah.
Anyway, the girls continue thinking that he's possibly the killer, but then they later on they go into the other room, and one of the girls decides to go upstairs to smoke something. So Sophie recommended something to her, and she then takes it, and then a few minutes later, hours go by, and we see her dead body on the floor,
bottom of the stairs, her head smashed open.
Yeah, the whole staircase is covered in her blood from the walls to the floors.
And they think, oh, somebody else is the killer.
Someone whacked her or something.
Yeah.
But who knows? Anyway, the next person on they start suspecting
each other,
and they suspected B because she's a stranger to the group. The rest of the group, Sophie and her other friends, they are been friends for years, or they think. Well, they say they do know each other for years.
The one you least expect.
They then throw B outside and think that they will be safe if they kept her outside.
So they threw her out the door. Yeah. In the rain.
Rain. Give me a break. It's a hurricane. What are you going to do? So she ends up heading to her car, which at the time you would think that they would drive off if there was a killer. But actually she left the...
they tried to leave earlier on, but the car had a flat battery because someone, B, was doing a makeup and turned the lights on inside the car, the courtesy light, to do the makeup, and in the daytime, mind you, and left the lights on when she got out of the car. Duh.
Yeah, I never did that. Well, then again, my car doesn't...
My grandkids do that all the time.
My car doesn't even have that either.
What?
Well, our car doesn't have...
You don't have a car, I have a car, and my grandkids are always turn the lights on, monkey around, and I get out of the car, and I go inside, I go out a couple of hours later when the sun goes down, and I notice the internal lights are still on.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, as I was saying, she gets into the car. She kind of winds down a bit of the window was able to get inside and get some food in her system and get one of her a hoodie or a...
Yeah, because it was getting a bit damp.
She was getting wet and stuff like that. And then she discovers inside the car a pair of underwear that's not really hers or probably Sophie's.
It was the other girl, what's who's it?
Yes. Yeah. So she ends up going back inside. She crawls through the doggy door. I think a doggy door.
It's an animal door, a big dog, obviously, but so she can crawl through a big door.
We don't see a big dog in this movie.
I didn't see a dog at all in this movie. No. I know. Well, see, Mum and Dad were away.
Yeah.
They probably took the dog with them.
Yeah, or take it to a kennel.
Yes, and so have friends meet up, have a whole day for all the other dogs. Yeah.
Anyway, so she heads inside and she tells... Well, actually, before she heads inside, she sees one of the girls bringing out a gun.
Yeah.
Yes. And she begins to, I guess, suspect that she might be the killer. You know, all that stuff. So she heads through the doggy door and she approaches them and says... talks about the girl having a gun. She removes her hands out of her pockets, and of course, there's nothing in those pockets.
Of course, she put the gun somewhere else.
The girls start continuing fighting and not only accusing, but bringing up old skeletons from the closets.
Rattle.
And it's not really pleasant stuff. I mean, it's by the sounds of it, they didn't really want Sophie or her girlfriend to come to this party, but they thought they should bury the hatchet between them, whatever grudges, whatever disagreements they had, and decide to bring them. Of course, even David didn't want them to come, but eventually one of their friends suggested bring them along, stuff like that. Yeah. Of course, eventually the girl moves the gun and is attempting to shoot B, because she suspects B of being the killer, because she's still an unknown to them. And you always
she's a newbie.
Yeah. Of course, Sophie tries to defend her, and we then learn from B that she was never going to attend a certain university. She told Sophie that she was attending a certain university, but her mother was kind of very sick. Had dementia or something like that.
She had borderline personality disorder.
Okay, borderline.
So she dropped out of university to take care of her mother.
Yes.
What a nice girl.
So she looks after her mother, even though she can't really attend university. But
she had been at university.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Sophie forgives her to an extent, but the other girls still think Be'i is possibly, like the expression goes, they think that she's a psychopath, and therefore the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Oh, their theory is. But that doesn't not work that way.
Does that make you a banana?
Don't know.
Okay, right.
Anyway, and the girls start bringing up more skeletons, including the girl who's Alice, one of them says that the only reason all of them promise never to tell her how rotten her podcast is. And
no one says that to us.
Of course not.
We do good ones.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, and they all swore to each other never to reveal this fact. But doesn't matter. So the girl ends up wheeling the gun, and she ends up shooting the girl in the knee, I think, or the leg.
The leg, whatever. Yeah.
And she starts screaming about, you shot me. And she says, oh, no, I didn't. Oh, gosh. I'm not the one holding the gun.
Bang.
Am I? Yeah. You're the one holding the gun. It wasn't me.
She's off the pixies, it's cool.
Anyway, the girls start fighting, and then the gun goes off again, and it shoots Alice right through the
throat,
neck.
Throat, neck, whatever, it's all right.
And then the girls continue trying. Sophie tries to get the gun from her, of course. They walk up the stairs, and all the time she's trying to get the gun. And of course, they end up getting a fight upstairs, and then B knocks the girl
over
off
the balustrade,
yeah,
and straight down 1 or 2 levels.
Of course, she's still alive and starts shooting at the top floor.
Yeah,
and
she
the girls
should have been dead or unconscious.
Yeah. She says to, I think it was, well, I'm not sure which one. She says check her phone and stuff like that.
Whatever.
I think that both Sophie and her had a relationship.
She says to check Sophie's text messages.
Okay,
I think.
check Sophie's text messages.
Yeah.
Both Sophie and B, they head into a closet. They still don't know who to trust at this point.
They didn't know because there's not many people left.
Yeah, they're
those two.
Yeah, I guess the term is now that there are 2, I guess you would call it. So anyway, the girls go to separate. It's getting close to morning at this point.
Yeah.
And
that's the time for having fun.
Yeah, the girls eventually the girls head outside and they embrace for a minute, and then they can. And I think Sophie had I think it was either Sophie or B.E. who had the girl's gun, I think, and I guess one of them was
I think B had it. I can't remember.
Yeah, and they, I guess.
Oh
yeah, B
had the gun,
and
demands to see the text.
Demands to see the text messages, and so she takes out her phone and they start fighting, and then they fall into the pool. And while they're in the pool, they crawl out of the water and B grabs the phone, but it's not
But
really her phone.
It's actually David's
It's not
phone.
really Sophie's phone, I should say. It's David's phone.
The guy who died at the beginning of their cut throat. Yeah.
The girl, so B takes the phone, she takes it over to the dead body, and
I had
face identification.
facial recognition or eye recognition or something.
Yeah.
Probably facial recognition.
Yeah, I think it said eyes. I think because she opened his pupils, and even though the eyes probably would be up in his sockets or something like that, considering he's dead. I don't know. Well, I'm not sure. His eyes were still open. Obviously, his pupils were still there. So she did the identification, and then we see a video.
He's doing something for TikTok. It was a video of him trying to open a champagne bottle
with a sword.
With a Gurkha's sword, I think.
Greg earlier did this, which was really impressive.
Yeah, he popped the top quite nicely. And this David's a geek, and he tried doing himself.
He cut it against the grain, like right to your neck.
He was cutting it away from himself, wasn't working, so he changed his angle, and the blade was actually going towards him, not away from him, which is the wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
Don't do this at home, kiddies.
Never.
And he slipped, and the sword hit him in the throat. Hence, he cut his own throat.
Yeah.
Silly boy.
Now the girls feel like, oh my gosh.
He wasn't murdered. Oh, shit.
Well, don't swear, Mike. How many times I tell you, Mike, do not swear on a podcast.
Oh, poo. You better?
You better. Anyway,
Kaka.
the guy we mentioned earlier who left Dave's house and has returned reappears. Well, we don't see him until this end.
Yeah, Max walks up. What happened?
He asks what's happened, or says, I got reception.
I got reception on my phone, and that was it. And fade to black.
Yeah.
It was quite good, actually. A good ending.
Yeah, I think that in most... this is another movie, aside from being a mystery horror, this one dealt with more social media whatevers.
Okay. It had...
Because they seem to have been been a bit obsessed with their phones, video, photos, stuff like that. So the things I've been seeing non-stop, either on TikTok or anywhere these days. A lot of people seem to be obsessed with this sort of thing.
Well, that's pretty much what it was. They're trying to take the piss out of... sorry, I'm not supposed to use any language.
Yes.
How do I... Okay, it was a light-hearted poke at Gen Z and how they work with their social contacts and stuff, and they feel naked without their mobile phones and their iPads and whatever, and they need those. Their life is nothing without them, and they just went on and on, and their social problems stem from the fact they weren't really relating to each other because they're more relying on their electronical contacts than actual human contacts.
Yeah,
I think that's where the problem was.
Exactly.
I think.
So,
yeah.
I mean, they were all very wealthy people, and they all were really up themselves. I mean, this is what I think Mike would describe these characters in this is that they're people you don't really care about. In this point.
When one of them dies, you go, okay, who cares? Yeah, because
they were up themselves.
They were so shallow and self-centered and megalomaniacs and all that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
And, okay, well, so good. I'm glad he died or she died. It's just a pain in the neck, that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
But the last girl, or one of the last girls, the foreign girl who was newbie. I liked her. She was really good.
But of course I didn't know enough about her. Aside from the fact her mum was suffering from suffering
borderline,
anyway.
Just say borderline.
Borderline, suffering big time. And the rest of the time, I didn't like any of Sophie's friends, to be honest.
Yeah, they're all up themselves. They're weirdos.
They were weird. They were high. They didn't have a thought in their brain.
They didn't get a crap about anybody,
Yeah. Every one of them had grudges. It's just like what a whodunit is all about, where everyone is there, but they don't really want to be there.
Well, like Inspector Poirot, he says, you could have done it because you didn't see the so-and-so and you didn't like him, and you could have done it because so-and-so, and you could have... It all had reasons.
Yeah, if they didn't like each other, why did they hang out with each other?
Because if they didn't hang out with each other, they wouldn't have anybody to hang out with.
Good point. Yeah.
There.
True.
Anyway.
So I wouldn't mind if this did have a. Well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you had likable characters, you would miss them too much.
Yeah, but apart from B,
to be or not to be.
to be honest with no, B was probably the likable one out of the whole lot. But she was, she was just a nice girl next door type. Yeah. Anyway, just going on a few little things here. Principal production details, basically. There's not much in there that talks about who did what to whom, writing it, whatever. But the principal photography began in May 2001. It was a place called a Georgian stone manor house in Chappaqua, I think it is, Chappaqua, New York. Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce it. Chappaqua?
By the sounds of it, it's very...
and anyway, that's where the filming took place, basically all around the house. So, yeah, there wasn't much more to say about production. He said, hey, we did it there. Okay, fine, there you go. Now, influences we mentioned before, the Heathers and Don's Plum and whatever, and so we won't go back over those things again.
Yeah.
Now, reception.
When I think of this movie, Mike, I think of that Sissy movie,
It was in Canberra, yeah.
That was
there's something similar, yeah.
It dealt with inside a mansion or a house.
Oh, it's supposed to be a mansion. A fancy house, yeah. In the woods.
In the woods.
Hey, cabin in the woods. That's it. Oh, sorry.
I'm already done, Mike.
I've done that, sorry.
So, that's how I feel about it. So, go back to what you were saying about reception.
Reception. I think the best way to put it is most of the reviewers liked it.
That's a relief.
Now, even people who didn't like it totally could still see redeeming qualities in the production. How's that grab you?
That sounds good.
So I won't go through it. I've got a whole lot here, but Rotten Tomatoes gave it 86%. Metacritic gave it about 69%. Post-Track gave it 63%. All the other people, everyone was positive. They're commenting more on not so much the storyline, but the acting and the direction and whatever. They thought it was a really good watch. One person I didn't like some of it, but the point is that they'll still like the acting and stuff.
I still like the twist ending. Obviously, that's probably one of the things I like most because it turns out that the whole thing just got them all crazy. Well, not really crazy. I mean, they just went through that whole hysteria thing that people would tell you about in psychiatry.
It's like it's a herd mentality sort of thing, and herd mentality to me also
mass hysteria,
a bit like hypnosis.
Yeah.
Because everyone believes what they see, and they get conditioned for it in subconscious mind, so it must be real.
Yeah, it's just. I think I remember in a House episode, House from, as in Hugh Laurie.
Yeah, House MD.
In one episode where he's on a plane, and during he was kind of looking into a person's illness, and throughout in that scene there was mass hysteria, and he explained what mass hysteria meant. It meant when you put an idea in someone's heads,
they believe it,
and it usually affects women the most because men have a bit of a more rational side to their brains.
No, he didn't actually say that. He just implied that females are more willing and acceptable to suggestions, probably because maybe they're a bit more emotional. Men are, and men tend to bottle things up a lot more. So that's probably why they're more of a target for overreacting in a crisis. That in the TV show, if there are any females listening, I'm not pointing the finger at you. It's just a TV program.
Yeah,
Hello.
but you've got to admit, Mike, this stuff does come up so much,
But mass hysteria can hit anybody.
Even in the movies, often if you do, aside from this movie, whenever there is a crisis, it's the men who be the rational, but sometimes the women do not act, act rational.
Not always, but some of the guys get over the top too, and that's why I have a thing called a final girl.
Yeah, sometimes there's always one rational female,
final
but
girl,
other
not
times,
final guy.
sometimes there's sometimes a hysterical woman or more than one hysterical woman.
Guys. They believe in the old conspiracy theory part, saying, "He did it. That guy over there, he looks horrible. Well, he must be the guilty guy. Let's go kill him." All right. And the female saying, "Well, don't think so, really."
Or like that girl who thought he was a vet by going on his social media thing without realizing, okay, he's a vet. He's a veterinarian.
Yeah. Horses, cows, pussycats, puppy dogs.
There's more than one type of vet.
Birds.
Just like a doctor, there's many different types of doctors out there.
Proctologist.
Yeah. And psychologists. That's a sort of a doctor medical degree thing when you think about it.
You'd see one of those one day.
And a lot of other doctors, like head, nose, and throat type doctors, which don't require surgery.
They do.
Well, yeah, they do learn the stuff.
Eventually.
Obviously. They learn the stuff in medical school stuff.
The ear, nose and throat doctor will still do operations on the ear, nose and throat sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, they do that, yeah. But they're not seen to be doing as much because you go in there, I have a sore throat. Oh, that's okay. Here's some stuff. Bung it in there. You'll be fine.
Yeah. And not to mention, vets do the similar training so that they...
Well, I believe vets actually do 1 year of normal medical school, and so they learn human anatomy and stuff first, and then they decide to go and become a vet. Then they do the next courses will be in line of veterinary and not human.
Okay, so Mike, go back to reception. What kind of review? What's the reviews would say about it? I mean, I know you said that they all thought it was great. I just would like to hear. I'd like to hear a quote from one of them.
Oh, okay. I'll give a couple of quotes. Okay, go back to Rotten Tomatoes. The critical consensus reads: impeccably cast and smartly written. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is an uncommonly well done whodunit. How's that?
Haha.
Because some of these don't actually have the comments, that's all.
Usually.
Here's one I like. Abby Alcease from the RogerEbbitt.com praised the use of music and cinematography to enhance the single location setting. That's what I mean. We're talking before, not on the offline, that when you get a good location and you do it, say, inside a house or a building or something or other, sometimes it's a lot easier to run and you can make it really, really good because you're not, another location. It's all self-contained. It's really good. They've got a few things like this. Erin Brady of Little White Lies thought the film fell apart towards the end because it is a movie that claims to understand how Gen Z treats societal
is that even a word?
I don't know, societal.
Or is it just a
while
misspelling
portraying
mistake?
some of those topics so stereotypically. However, she said that the film was well paced and it was hard to resist the fun of it. So they still liked it even though they didn't like it totally. So
I thought the ending was well crafted. It gave you the impression that all this time you thought it was a murder, but actually there was no murder to be found.
Yeah. So I thought that guy who died at the beginning was going to be part of the end bit. So he wasn't really dead. He's just pretending. And which happens in some movies. Yeah, but he was actually dead, but he killed himself accidentally.
Yeah, like that following movie, the one that we reviewed last year, that dabbled with a guy who thought he was being killed, being part of a horrible hostile type situation. Yeah. But in reality, it turned out it was all set up for him.
He wanted the ultimate thrill or scare, and they did it for him. And he thought it was real.
Yeah, and he ended up
started killing people.
Well, he killed one person, anyway.
Well, at least one person, yeah. Bug up.
Yeah.
Oops.
Whoops, indeed. And I do think this one was well crafted because it left you wondering if who did it for a while, and then you realise it was it was an accident.
Yeah.
An accident, and they really did kill that very Greg guy before, and I don't know if that means will the girls go to jail for that? Maybe.
Well,
I'm not sure.
I would say she killed the guy sort of in self-defense, believing her life to be in danger.
Yeah.
So if she got anything, it'd probably be a manslaughter charge, I would think. But I wasn't there. I'm not going to be in a court of law.
Yeah.
And it's not really going to court. Yeah.
And all the other girls who,
Well,
the girl who fell down the stairs, that was just.
Well, she's dead.
She just took some heavy stuff and probably.
She got drugged out of a skull and she fell downstairs and banged her head and
downstairs.
everything and stuff.
And
Yeah,
the
we'll go
girl who got shot, she got shot by the girl who pretty much fell off the balcony. I mean, fell off the banister.
she shot in the throat and she died. That was unintentional. She was waving the gun around, it went off. And she shot the other girl in the leg.
Well, actually, she shot the same girl in the leg and then the neck.
Yeah, but she shot her in the leg first. I didn't do that, just panicking. So I don't think she's in control.
Nope.
And then she shot her in the neck accidentally. I didn't do it. Yeah, but yes, she did.
Oh, yeah, right. I'm the one who wielding the gun. That's
bugger.
wrong.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Who else is ruling
Anyway,
it?
yeah. So look, I think that B and her friend probably might have got off with no criminal charges. I don't think, but it depends on how they explain it to the authorities.
Yeah.
We pull all the girly whirlies. No, it ain't going to happen.
No. As for Max, I don't know too much
Max
about him.
wasn't even there. He was gone for most of the movie.
Yeah. Who knows where he went to?
Well, he went somewhere and he couldn't get back because it was raining too heavy, and he came back in the morning.
Yeah, could have been really a heavy rock. I mean, considering it's out in the middle of nowhere,
it would have town,
and it could have been a mudslide that may have prevented. And considering there was a lot of rain around,
it's peeing down rain,
and it could have
wind and stuff, and storms and tree branches falling over the place.
If you've been living out here in, say, in Australia, we often have very heavy rains here, and we sometimes have some small flood areas.
We have
sometimes.
flash floods and stuff in some areas, and trees falling down over power lines. And, they have that in America and other places, and Europe, and it's not just us.
I know.
Anyway, let's go on to the important part.
But when we ever do go for that stuff, we usually have the roads blocked, and
we keep away from the bad roads.
Yeah.
I do not want to be a statistic. Yeah,
anyway, so.
Anyway, here we go. eBay, plenty for sale if you want to buy one. Yes. Yeah. Rentable through Amazon, there are some for sale.
Goody.
There you go. Well, like I say, if you're not real sure on it, look, go and have a look. Probably on YouTube, you might be able to have a bit of a look at it.
Yeah.
Get a taste for it. At least look at the trailer.
Yeah.
It's not a bad look. It's a fun watch for a comedy horror.
Yeah. If you're looking,
it's more horror than comedy, but it's a light-hearted horror. Yes.
Yeah. Well, as I said before, it doesn't seem it doesn't make me want to chuckle much.
Chuckle.
But it feels more like mystery horror, not to me.
I would really like to do. You know that Bob Hope one was talking about, the Ghost Chasers or whatever.
Yeah. You mean Yeah,
Ghostbusters, Ghost Chasers, whatever, that old one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were...
Ghost Breakers,
yeah. That was a really funny movie, and that was a comedy horror, comedy ghost story, whatever. And we might do a couple of old ones like that later on to compare them what they're doing now, and because some of you younger guys probably may not even know these old movies exist, and they're really fun movies. So I'd really like to talk Sarah into reviewing some of these old ones, but it's like really hard. It's like extracting hen's teeth, if you know what I mean.
Well, it takes a lot.
Hens don't have teeth.
It takes me a lot longer to be convinced if it's worth seeing. And sometimes I get drawn into the likely ones that don't get...
She likes the stuff under the radar.
Yeah, like...
Well, these are under the radar for the younger gentry.
Like, as an example, which came out in Netflix last year too, called... We Are Dead is a zombie Korean related TV series.
It's a Korean one. It's about a zombie apocalypse type thing. Yeah.
Which takes place in I guess Korea, obviously.
Funny that, eh? It's all Korean. Everyone's speaking Korean. Gee, it must be Korean, hey?
Anyway, it goes through its own lockdown and these kids have to survive it inside a high school.
There's about half a dozen kids stuck in the high school, and all the other kids have been turned into zombies.
Yeah.
And the police or the authorities or whatever have cordoned off the area, so they're not actually going in there to save anybody. And they turn off all the social media in that area,
because
so they can't contact anybody. They can't see the news. They don't know what's happening on the outside. So.
Yeah, and no use of contacting the police or the army or even your parents to let them know that you're okay.
Nope. all the mobile phones that don't work in the area. They've barred that. They've turned off the facility in the area. I don't know how that works, but
the only way you can say much as make contact is if you send a signal in the sky or on the ground, like
bigger SOS or something rather.
Yeah, of course I won't talk about this series now. We're still watching,
trying to get a feel for it, and it may be on the cards. Hey.
Well, we're up to episode 6 at the moment, so hopefully we'll get another few.
Is it 10 or 12?
12.
Oh, yeah, 12 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, somehow in Asia they always go up to 12 episodes. I don't know why.
There used to be something when we used to do TV series years ago. A lot of them used to be about 12 to 13 episodes long. It used to be 12 or 13 used to be the magic number to get to wind it up, and if they're going to do for another season, they'll do another 12.
I see. So anyway, let's rate this the movie now, Mike.
Okay. Filming, location, acting, I've got to give it a 9.
Filming, actors, location, and
storyline's not bad.
Storyline not too bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 9 too.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, there you go.
So anyway, guys, you know where to find it. It's on eBay and Amazon, and you can also check it out
check on YouTube. Check the trailer out and get a feel for it if it's what you're looking for. Yeah, like I said, there is a bit of lesbianism in it, but it's only a bit of kissing and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not explicit stuff. So if it's not cringeworthy, it's okay. Yeah.
It's okay if
I'm just warning anybody. People say, actually, it's really funny. People don't mind the blood and guts when you get some bit of gay and lesbian stuff, and they go, ew. Huh? Yeah. So it's really weird.
I just get bored of it after a while.
Yeah, but the point is that they put it in. Too many shows, but
too many movies.
It works in the show. It's no problem.
I have no beef against gays and lesbians, but when it's overdone, like over and over and over and over, it gets
a bit monotonous.
Gets less real.
Well, take there's a show, a soap used to be on up until last year called Neighbours, Australian production. I don't know if it went to America. But it got to the stage where in this one show we had something like 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 gays and 1 transgender in there out of a cast of 12 in one neighbourhood.
Yeah.
You're going, hello, you're pushing it a bit too much, and this was a co-production being funded by England. They were putting up the money because they liked the series, but they pulled the plug on the funding because they were getting sick of it too.
Yeah.
It gets outside the realms of reality, and then people start to get turned off. So it's like having ethnic stuff. I mean, if you look at a Chinese movie or a Korean movie, you expect to be full of Chinese or Koreans. You can't turn around and say, well, where's the white guy?
Yeah.
Or where's the black guy? Or where's something else? Yeah, but that's where it is. And it's just the same sort of thing. It's just there's a bit of reverse bias going on in a lot of stuff nowadays, and political correctness and so on. So just get over it. You know.
I just get bored of it. I mean, I don't even feel like supporting the characters when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I got no problem. There's a lot of actors used to be who were gay, who were playing in movies. They didn't emphasise the fact that they were gay. They just played the roles. That's it. So,
I just think it's going over the board because
it's just going overboard at the moment.
Throughout this movie, Bodies, Bodies, Boys, I could tell or feel a vibe, not just through Sophie and B, but I felt like there were at least
one of the other girls there, Jordan, I think, was
2 other characters were gay in this.
I wasn't sure about the guy.
I wasn't sure either. I mean, I was trying to figure out if he was
gay
or even bisexual.
Yeah, whatever.
Both.
I mean, again, doesn't worry, not homophobic or anything.
It's not homophobicness. Yeah. I mean, it just feels like
it's in your face all the time.
It's just too overdone. I mean, I even I have a lot of friends,
and we've got gay friends,
and I don't. I mean,
lovely people,
and it's nice sometimes to have It's nice that they have they like to be with other people.
Yeah.
I just feel like that if you have that many people like that all the time in movies, it feels less real. It feels like it's overpopulation.
It takes away from it.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to go on to it. I don't want to preach. I hate preaching.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
and so, anyway, guys, check out this movie. Let us know in the comments what you guys think
fun.
of it.
It's. I don't think it's an offensive movie in any way. I mean, it's hardly any blood in it when you think about it.
Yeah, barely. I mean, it was mostly just, it's as Mike said. It's a whodunit, and it's more mystery than horror.
It's a black comedy. That more so than a horror movie. So yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of Tucker and Dale versus.
Actually, they mentioned that on the website I was looking at. So it was funny in the same sort of same sort of direction.
That's how I felt about it. I mean, it got me feeling that vibe there.
Yeah.
You know, the whole
Tucker and Dale versus evil.
Yeah, all those accidental deaths. Well, except for the Greg's one. The other ones were accidental.
Yeah.
I mean, the one with Emma, who's the actress falling down the stairs, that was definitely an accident. Dave's definitely an accident.
Yeah.
And the girl getting shot in the leg and the neck was
probably,
sort of an
Jordan was shooting in her general direction with the gun, so not total accident, but maybe unintentional.
And of course the girl falling, a lady. Well, that was
Jordan going for I can fly. Oh, no, you can't. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's how I feel about it. It feels like that's the vibe I get from this movie because it leaves them like the kids in Tucker and Dale. They thought that Tucker and Dale were the ones being the killers, but actually in reality they were killing themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Funny, hey.
Yeah. So they were acting weird and thinking this was all
no aliens, no slashes, no nothing. They just kill themselves.
Yeah. I guess that's pretty
good, clean, wholesome fun, folks.
So that's about it for us tonight. I don't want to go any more into this movie.
We're going to overtime again.
All right. So thanks for listening to our latest podcast, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And so this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael.
Saying see you around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now.
Bye.